Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode, we took on the Philadelphia Flyers in the second round, and we managed to beat them in 5 games. It was a little bit of a weird series to an extent because the first 3 games all went to overtime situations. We won game 1, and then we lost game 2, and then we won game 3. Kovalchuk also was returning for game 2. And then game 4 we won 4-0, and then game 5 was kind of a weird game for us because we decided to run with Brian Elliott again for that game, and he didn't have the greatest game. It was his worst game of the playoffs for sure, but we did win 6-5, so he is still undefeated in this playoffs. And now we're going on to the conference finals to face the Buffalo Sabres. Now, Buffalo has a pretty good roster, and they finished the second best in the Eastern Conference with a 49-25, 6-2 record, only behind the Tampa Bay Lightning, who they just eliminated in the second round. So they're going to be probably a pretty tough team to beat, and the main reason is because they have 2 guys that are doing really good, and that is Tim Connolly and Eric Staal. Both these guys had 103 and 105 points each, which is really scary. I don't know why they're so good together, but anyways, it could be because one's a playmaker and one's a sniper. So yeah, they work really good together anyways. And yeah, they have a very good forward core for the most part. You know, you got Daniel Briere here, Matthew Savoy. Like, they have some really good center depth. And then defensively, they're pretty solid too. They have Brian Campbell, they have Coop, they have Tverdovsky, Rafalski, who's good. Even Malik is pretty solid. We've had him last season. Also, former player Marcel Hossa is there, and Dan Snyder. And in goaltending wise, Martin Brodeur is there. He signed there as a free agent, which was a little bit weird, but he had a really good season with them, which is not a surprise because they're a good team. And so far this playoff run, he has been pretty good as well. And that's pretty much that. I don't know if we have a chance really to beat these guys because they had such a good season during the regular season. But hopefully we could somehow upset these guys. Even though I would like to see Dan Snyder or Marcel Hossa or Thomas Malik with a cup, I still would like to beat these guys because this is our first ever conference finals appearance. So it's going to be a learning experience in this round for sure. Whoever wins this series will face either Detroit or Calgary, which should be pretty interesting. So let's get into game number 1. We're on the road for a change. We started the first 2 rounds on home ice, but we don't have home ice advantage for this round. We're 8-1 in this playoff run so far, and Buffalo is 8-5. Can we pull off an upset and defeat Buffalo? Let's see what happens here in game 1 at the HSBC Arena. First period, we're up 1-0. Let's go. That's a good way to start it off. Kovalchuk beats Brodeur. Wasn't expecting us to get the first goal, to be honest. Shots are 9-8 in favor of Buffalo, but a very solid first period from Carey Price, who's now in net. We might flip-flop between Price and Brian Elliott throughout the series because that's what I did for a little bit of last round. Second period, and that is not good. We have a very bad second period there. Daniel Briere scores and Michael Pekka scores. We're down now 2-1 and getting outshot 22-16, so not a good game from Price now by comparison. Well, actually, it's still a solid game from Price, but it seems like when Carey Price faces a lot of shots, he actually lets in goals. But if he faces a little bit of shots, he doesn't allow a lot of goals. So we kind of want to keep the shots to the minimum if we want to win with Carey Price to an extent. Let's see what happens here in the third. Can we tie this game up? Can we bring it to an overtime situation at least? We've had a lot of overtimes in this postseason, like maybe 4 or 5 at this rate already. Final 10 minutes of the third period. Come on, boys. Who wants to tie it up for us? Kovalchuk. Okay, Brody is going to score. Nicely done, Brody. Wasn't expecting you of all people. And we are going to be going to another overtime situation. We've been in like 5 or 6 overtimes at this rate, so we do have the experience going into this overtime, but will we be able to win it is the thing. Shots are 33-32 in favor of Buffalo, so actually it's been a pretty good game from Carey Price despite the amount of shots. Let's see what happens here in OT. Penalty kill early into overtime, we killed off, but it's kind of like the young dog against the old dog, Price versus Brodeur, which is kind of cool in this series. Final few minutes of this first overtime period. Are we going to a second OT? Last few minutes, and no, we are not. Screw you, Michael Pekka. He scores on the 54th shot on goal, so holy shots in that overtime period. We got dismantled in that period. No wonder we lost. But Carey Price had a really good game. 51 saves. That might actually be a team record. Yeah, that's probably a team record, I would assume. Holy. Well, at least we got to an overtime period, but still. Kovalchuk from Malkin, Brody from Bork. But unfortunately, we can't get that win because Pekka has 2 goals. But yeah, that was a good game from Carey Price. Look at all those saves, though. 51 saves and 944 save percentage. That's what I would like to see from Carey Price. We might go back to Brian Elliott next game, but we might just stick with Carey Price for the next game, just because he made a lot of saves. But he might be a little bit tired after playing almost 80 minutes. So maybe we'll go to Brian Elliott, I don't know. And Pekka gets first star, Broder the second star, and Price the third. Imagine giving Price the third star after that. Like, I know Broder was really good too, but still. Interesting. I think that might be a team record, though. We might check that just because. Might as well. But we are trailing in the series for the first time. Hopefully we could bounce back from that game. Let me take a look at record book, because we barely check this ever. But let me take a look if that was a team record. It hasn't updated yet, but once it updates in the offseason, that will be a record, beating Jan Lasik's record of 48 saves back in 2022. Unless these game records are only regular season and they don't count playoffs, but hopefully they count playoffs as well. Interesting. Okay, let's see if we can bounce back from that game. I'm going to keep with Carey Price, I think. Or do I want to... I might go with Brian Elliott because Carey Price might be really tired from that game. Like, he's been really good since, like, his first few games. But, like, yeah, I think I'm going to give it to Brian Elliott. Even though Brian Elliott had a bad game a couple games ago, Carey Price might be tired. So I think I am going to give Brian Elliott the game and see if he can tie the series up for us. And then we'll go back to Price for next game regardless of what happens. Can we tie up this conference finals appearance, or are we going to go down 2-0? It wouldn't surprise me if we go down 2-0 because Buffalo's a good team and they're on home ice. So, first period, down 1-0. Not a bad start, I would say. Shots are 10-9 in favor of them. Todd Bertuzzi, I almost said Tyler Bertuzzi because I'm so used to current NHL stuff. But we're down 1-0 after 1, so still a close game, which is good. Hopefully we could convert maybe in the second period. Second period, still 1-0 them. Broder has been really good this series. And it's been a good game for Brian Elliott, actually. He's made 25 saves throughout 2 periods. We haven't really tested Broder as much as I'd like to. Let's see what happens here in third. Can we tie this one up and finally solve Broder, or will we lose this game? Nice penalty kill there. Come on, Kovalchuk. Come on, Bergeron. Malkin. Final few minutes of this game 2. We are still down 1-0. We aren't testing Broder enough in this game. And power play late, and we don't score on it. And wait, is that the end of the game? No, that's the second period, wasn't it? Yeah, that was wait, no, that was the end of the game. I don't know why it just glitched out like that. Okay. But anyways, we lose 1-0, which kind of sucks because Brian Elliott had a great game. But the team just doesn't get enough offense going, so we might have to change around our lineup again. So Bertuzzi with the only goal. And Brian Elliott gets first star again. He's been first star in almost every game he's played except for that last game he played before this one. Broder the second star and Bertuzzi the third. We need to find a way to start scoring on Broder because he's taking over the series. Yeah, we lost both games in Buffalo, but we could still technically win both games on home ice and tie the series up, so it's not the end of the world. But I am going to make some adjustments, I think, to our forward lines. Kovalchuk's been underestimating a little bit. What could I do? I don't really know what to do with our lines because they've been Borowski's been better than like Bure and stuff, so I think what I could do is move Borowski up, put Likachev down. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. And then 77 face-off, 76 we're going to go back to Frolov at center, move Eklund to the wing. And then defensively, we'll go back to Wall on the top pairing since we moved him down last series. And yeah, we'll go back to Carey Price. See if that helps out. But we need to find a way to start scoring on Broder. Because he's now only allowed, how much goals? 3 goals in 2 games. He's the main reason they're probably up 2-0 in this series. Let's see what happens here in Game 3. We're back on home ice. Let's see if we can win both these games on home ice, because if we can, then it will be a brand new series potentially. So, let's see what happens. Game 3, first period, scoreless. I'll take that. It's a good defensive period. Shots are also pretty even, 13-12 in favor of them. Let's see if we can start getting some goals, though, because we haven't scored in like 4 periods now, which is a little bit concerning. Second period, still haven't scored in 5 straight periods on Broder. We're out shooting him, though, 24-19, so that's a good sign. But we really need to find a way to beat Broder, because he's taking over, and once he takes over, it's almost impossible to beat him. Third period, penalty kill early into this third. I don't know who took that penalty, but that was a dumb play, and Henricius is going to beat Broder to make it 1-0. Let's go, and then Kuznetsov scores. There we go. There's the offense we needed. Bobrovsky makes it 3-0. So we are going to have won at least one game in this conference finals, which is good. Only down in the series by 1 game now. Pekka, though, breaks the shutout for Carey Price. Yikes, Bertuzzi makes it 3-2, but we are going to hold them off by 1 goal. Yikes, Carey Price almost botched another game in the third period. You can never trust Carey Price in the third, it seems like, in this. So Henricius from Martinez and Bork, Kuznetsov from Wall and Kondratyov, almost, and Kuznetsov, and Bobrovsky from Bure and Kuznetsov. 3 starters. Kuznetsov the first star, Price the second star, and Bobrovsky the third. Okay, so that was a good game for the most part, except for those final few minutes of that last game. Can we tie the series up headed back to Buffalo? That would be huge if we could. I don't think I'm going to go to Brian Elliott for this game. I mean, I could, because Brian Elliott was fantastic in that game. Yeah, I'm going to go back to Brian Elliott again. Even though Carey Price just got us the win, I'm going to go back to Brian Elliott. Because I'm going to just keep flip-flopping these goalies, because both of them seem to like kind of struggle if they play too many games in a row in that sense. So we'll go back to Brian Elliott and see if that continues our trend. We do have plus chemistry on every single pairing, our forward core at least, and in pairing wise we have only on our top 2, but chemistry looks pretty decent on this team for it being like a bunch of mismatched free agent signings and draft picks and whatnot. Can we tie the series up with Brian Elliott being in net now? Or was that a dumb move for me to make? Let's see what happens. Come on, boys. First period of Game 4. And we're down 1-0. So that's not great. But shots are a little even. 11-10 in favor of us. Briere with the only goal. Hopefully we can come through with a goal in the second period at least. And hopefully we can keep them off the scoreboard. Second period, we're down 2-1. Tim Connolly made it 2-0. But Houghton's going to tie, or not tie it up, but pull us within 1 with a power play goal. So that's good. They're outshooting us now 20-17. So they had a lot more chances in that period, but we are only down by 1 goal. Let's see if we can tie this one up in the third. Come on, boys. Brian Elliott's been pretty solid this game so far, but Broder is playing good again, which is scary. Penalty kill. Oh, screw you. Good Branson scores 3-1. Yep, we're going to be down 3-1 in the series, headed back to Buffalo, which is very tough for us to come back. We could still come back and win this series in 7 games, but it's going to be very tough to do it against a team like Buffalo, especially when they have Broder. So Houghton with the only goal from Kovalchuk and Bure. So I don't know if that was a mistake putting in Brian Elliott. He gets his first loss of the playoffs, I'm pretty sure. It might have been a mistake. I don't know. Well, we'll go back to Carey Price for next game for sure. But I thought it was an okay game from Brian Elliott. It wasn't a great game, though, like it was here. So, yeah, we're going to leave our lines the way they are. Now, Brian Elliott's the backup, though. Carey Price will be starting. Let's see if we could fend off elimination and head to a Game 6. Like, if we could somehow get this to go back to the 7th game, that'd be nice. But let's see what happens here in game number 5. Can we stay off elimination? It's going to be a real-time simulation as well. Come on, boys. Power play early here in Game 5, and we don't score. We have yet to win in Buffalo in this series, so we need to win here. Nice penalty kill. Final 10 minutes of this first period of play. We're out shooting them right now. Penalty kill. Nicely done. Power play opportunity late in the period, and nobody's going to score. And it's scoreless after 1. Shots are 13-9 in favor of us, so we're actually having a pretty solid game so far. But once again, Broder has been really good this series. Like, It's impossible to beat a 38-year-old that like Broder that could just lay out or just shut out any team he plays. Second period, let's see if we can get that goal. Penalty kill, and they get the goal. That's not good. But Kovalchuk answers right back. Okay. Good job, Ilya. Definitely need you to start stepping it up a little bit. Same with Malkin and Bergeron. And Connolly's going to score. That's his first goal of the playoffs. But then Campbell ties it right back up, and then Pickard gives him the lead. Come on, Carey Price. Can you just hold the lead for once, and Pickard makes it 4-2? We're going to lose this game for sure now, because this team decided to let in 4 goals in a crucial second period. And yep, we're down by 2 goals going into the third. 4 goals on 22 shots. Carey Price has not been good right now. So our goaltending is kind of choking at the worst time possible. We had a 2-1 lead, but then 3 goals. 2 of them were like literally like less than 10 seconds apart. And then the Pickard goal was late as well. 2 power play goals, so our special teams are struggling a little bit against Buffalo. Third period, this is going to be our final period of the series. We need 2 goals in this period if we want to stay alive. 3 if we want to win this game, but it looks like it's not going to happen. Broder's just shutting us down now. Yep, we're going to be eliminated in the conference finals. But I mean, at least we got to the conference finals, so it's a good learning experience again for the boys. And yep, we're going to be eliminated in 5 games against Buffalo. I kind of felt like that was going to happen because Buffalo was just way too good, and then also they finished way ahead of us in the standings. But we managed to get to a conference finals, so a successful year. I would say we're kind of stepping in the right direction, going to like round 1, then round 2. Now we've been in the round 3. Who knows, maybe next year is the Cup Finals if we continue to build our team up pretty good. So Kovalchuk from Malkin and Bergeron, and Connolly's first from Brody. Oh, that really sucks. That second period cost us the game. And our top guns were all minus. And goaltending-wise, Price was terrible. At the worst time possible. Our goalies were so good in the first 2 rounds, and then they obviously they face a real team in Buffalo, and they don't do good. Yeah, and Martin Broder definitely stole them that series as well. Broder was fantastic. Oh, that really sucks. Let's take a look at our player stats for that round, and then we will sim up to the awards and all that stuff in the draft, so you guys can get kind of primed up for next episode already. But just going to gloss over our player stats a little bit. So let's see, center-wise, Bergeron was almost point per game. Him and Malkin were kind of shut down in that series a lot. Houghton had 10 points, Kuznetsov 9, Frolov and Eklund had 4 and 2. Yeah, our bottom 6 was minus mostly, so that's not good, especially our 4th line. Left wing wise, Kovalchuk had 11 points, Henriques had 8 points, and Likachev had 6. And then right wing wise, Borowski had 10, Bork had 9, and Bure had 8. So we only had 4 minus forwards, including Scavello in our lineup. And then defensively, Kondratyov 8 points, Brody 3 points, Wall had 3 points, but he was a -3. He was the only minus defenseman. And then Connolly 3 points, Blugis 3 points, and Martinez 2 points. But the penalty minutes might have been the problem for our team. Wall took 43 penalty minutes in those 14 games. And then Blugis had 21, Martinez had 17. Yeah, we might have been too physical of a team. Like, Wall had 5 fights in the playoffs. 5 fights in 14 games. So, yeah, we ran into penalty trouble because Malkin also had 38 penalty minutes. I think that might be one of the main reasons we lost. 6 fights for Evgeny Malkin. I mean, he still had almost point per game, which is good. And in our goaltending situation, it started off good and it still looks good, but they did struggle near the end a little bit. Okay, let's sim to the awards and find out who wins the Stanley Cup. Is it going to be Buffalo, Detroit, or Calgary that wins the Cup this year? Should be interesting to find out. It's probably going to be Buffalo, I'd say. No, it's going to be Detroit. Okay, so Detroit wins in the 2008 season, technically, I think. So that actually makes a lot of sense because they actually did win in 2008. So kind of interesting note there. Let's take a look at those awards before we get into the retirements. So yeah, Detroit wins the Stanley Cup, and then San Jose won the President's Trophy. It was the Detroit and Buffalo Finals. Interesting. Eric Stahl's going to win the Art Ross this season. Tim Connolly's going to win the Hart. Didn't think I'd ever see that. Roman Hammerlick wins the James Norris. Okay guys, so unfortunately I had a little bit of a video technical problem. At least it didn't happen during the playoff simulation, no, against Buffalo. But when I was going through the awards, I guess after I had recorded the video froze after this point. So I am going to just go over the rest of the awards and then also show you guys like the contracts that we have up for renewal, as well as the draft class, so you guys can get acquainted with that still. But I won't be able to show you guys the retirement class, unfortunately, just because of the fact that it froze, and I don't even remember all the players that retired. But I will go through the rest of these awards and all that sort of stuff to wrap up the season. So I apologize again for these problems. I don't know what that happened. I decided a little bit after I recorded the episode to kind of like unplug my Elgato and then like blow into it and make sure there was no dust in it. So hopefully it is fine now. But anyways, let's get the rest of these awards done. So Patrice Bergeron would win the Lady Byng. This was his first Lady Byng, which is pretty awesome. Good to see him getting recognized around the league for being a very sportsmanlike player. And then Aiden Wright, I think his name was for Nashville, won the Calder, which is really scary to an extent because Aiden Wright's obviously playing with like Alex Ovechkin in Nashville. Henrik Zetterberg won the Conn Smythe for Detroit, which I think is pretty realistic for this time period because we should be technically around the time that Detroit won that Stanley Cup against Pittsburgh, and I think Henrik Zetterberg might have been the Conn Smythe winner in that Cup Finals. I could be completely wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong though. Evgeny Nabokov would win the Vezina, which is pretty crazy because Marc-Andre Fleury missed the majority of the season in San Jose, but they do trade Vezinas, both of those goalies, so that's pretty incredible. Must be just a really good defensive team over there in San Jose. And then also Nabokov would win the William M. Jennings. Then Tambellini for the LA Kings would win the Bill Masterton. I don't even really know who that guy is. And then Wilcox for Philadelphia would win the Jack Adams, but we knocked off Philadelphia in the second round, so that was nice. Patrice Bergeron would win his fourth Selke in 5 years, which is pretty crazy. He's been racking them up, which is great. It's good to see that he's actually simulating realistic to what he was in real life to an extent, but I guess maybe not fully because I don't remember how much Selke's Bergeron's won, but I know that a lot of the Selkes that were going on at this point in time were to like Pavel Datsyuk and whatnot. So, and then Tim Connolly would win the Ted Lindsay because he had a really good season, and then Alex Ovechkin would win his second straight Maurice Richard, which is pretty crazy. Not a surprise that he's scoring a lot of goals. So, and then AHL wise, we didn't have any awards. I don't think. Yeah, we didn't have any awards. So that's pretty much a little bit of an award recap. And then I will show you guys now the contract situation and also the draft class. So contract-wise, I could actually also show you guys progress reports, I guess. But contract-wise, here is who's up for renewal. So we got Jalen Wall that needs a bigger contract. I think we could probably give him a long-term deal if we want to. He's been a pretty rock-solid defenseman for the most part. He does take a lot of penalty minutes, which is a little bit iffy, but he also plays really good defensively, so I don't really mind that much. But he took 43 penalty minutes in the playoffs, so it's a little bit of a risk signing him long-term because of those amount of penalty minutes, but he is a good player. There's also Henrichus that we got to get back, Kuznetsov, Brody. Like, I don't think a lot of these guys want too much. Yeah, Henrichus is pretty cheap. Kuznetsov is around the same, a little bit less. Brody wants a lot of money, which is kind of surprising, but then again, a young defender. Same with Martinez. Frolov is not going to probably want too much. And then there's also like Jalen Kemp, who's going to be probably in the NHL next season. He played only a bit this year in the NHL, but he had a really good season down there in the AHL. He's a really good passer. I believe, yeah, he has 95 passing, so he should be good next to any good snipers. So if we put him next to like a Kovalchuk, for example, he'll be pretty good. And then we also have Schiavello still, Bobrovsky, Eklund. Like, some of these guys like Eklund might leave, to be honest. Just because Schiavello could take over his spot and then Kemp could take over where Schiavello used to be or somebody used to be. Like, I think Eklund might go because he's a UFA, but all these RFAs definitely should be coming back, I think. And then goalie-wise, Brian Elliott's contract is up. Same with Robbins. Robbins is probably going to want a one-way deal. Yeah, he wants a one-way deal, so we could always sign him to this and then trade him away at some point. Or we could continue using him in the AHL, I don't know. And then also unsigned-wise, here's some of our prospects so far. Like Cleary's up to a 75. Lapierre is 73. So we are getting some pretty good development in terms of our prospect pool. And yeah, we have no goalie prospects. Okay, let's quickly take a look at the progress reports and then the draft class, and then that'll be it for this episode. So as you can see right now, Jalen Kemp is getting a lot of good growth. Everybody else is pretty much statistical growth, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe some of it is natural. So there you go, that's that. And then in the system-wise, obviously, like I was just saying, Cleary's getting a lot of growth. I don't know why. He's a top 9 forward, so pretty good player at least right now. And then Lapierre is getting a lot of growth from his good season in the QMJHL. And is Eklund getting growth? No, he's dropping off statistically. That is kind of weird. Yeah, well, Eklund's probably going to be dropped, I would say, in the offseason, if you guys think that's realistic. And there's pretty much everybody else in our system getting a lot of growth. I feel like this roster build has been getting a lot better prospect growth than all the other franchises I've done so far in NHL 21. So there's that. And now let's finally take a look at the draft class. Not that we're probably going to be getting anybody good. We are drafting at number 26 in the draft, it looks like. Or 26, 27, 28, around there. So let's take a look at what we could get around that spot. So around that spot, we could probably get another defenseman if we wanted to. He's probably a top 4. There's actually a lot of defensemen around the spot. But if we want to go for like a right winger, there's also like Jerry Pisani. There's also Yahir Holloway. But a lot of these guys aren't really scouted that well, which is the only problem. There's also Alvin Spiller, Corbet, who could be elite, but I don't think is. He's probably a top 9 forward. But yeah, it's pretty much the draft class. I don't think we're going to have a really good draft this year. Like, we could always take this lowly two-way defenseman. Actually, do we really need another defenseman that's NHL ready right out of the gate? Like, oh my. We might have to take this dude, because he's a right-handed defenseman as well. I pinned him already, apparently. Don't remember doing that, but this guy is amazing. Well, we might have to take that guy and get another defenseman, in which, if he's NHL ready, we might have to make some decisions on who to get rid of to make up for that roster spot. Like, it depends on how good of an overall that guy is. Like, if he's like an 80, then we're definitely playing him. If he's a 77, wait, was he in the United States? Because if he's a 77, maybe we play him in the AHL for 1 year. Yeah, he's an American defenseman, so he could play in the AHL. That's good. Yeah, he might be our pick. Even though it's way early, we might end up taking him, to be honest. Let me actually take a look at what picks we have in the draft. How much picks do we got? We got every round still, except for the 4th round, and we do have an extra 7th rounder from Boston. Okay. And pretty much our weakness right now still says defense a little bit. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode. So I apologize about the glitch and not being able to show you guys the retirements. But anyways, I think this episode should be still pretty good, as is with these addition to the ending. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.